Step number one is you have to have the courage to start. You have to have the courage to start. And I know it's like, okay, everyone says it, right? But I want to give you guys a little bit of a story, because I think that always kind of connects and drives the point home. So what I call this is the Chick-fil-A story. Everybody say Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. Right? So when I was in college, right, at Georgia Southern University, we had this Chick-fil-A on campus, right? And it was in what's called the Union. Right? And the Union is literally like where everyone hung out on campus. So like as soon as class ended, everyone came to the Union. You know, girls would come there, the frats would come there, the student orgs would come there, people trying to sell stuff, everybody would go to the Union. And in the Union, there was a Chick-fil-A. And I'm talking about, this was like, the Chick-fil-A was always packed. Right? So I remember this particular day, go in the Union, want some Chick-fil-A, number one to be exact, brownie on the side, lemonade, light ice, if you must know, 3 Polynesian sauces, 2 ketchups, right? That's my thing. That's just my thing, right? And I remember I walk into the Union, and the line is literally going from inside the Union, or inside the Chick-fil-A, wrapped all the way down, literally outside of the Chick-fil-A, right? So I'm like, oh my God, man, I got like 15, 20 more minutes before my next period. Like, I didn't think it was going to take this long. I thought I was going to, be in and out, right? Should have known better, though, because it's the Union, Joe. So I go to this line, and as I'm looking at the line, right, there's this one big line. I see 3 registers, right? And on the other 2 registers, I see some people behind them. So what do you guys think I start thinking to myself? Those lines open? What? Why is nobody else in the other lines? I mean, I can see that they're open. I see that there's people behind them, right? But nobody else is in the line. So I'm in this really interesting space, because at this point in time, I have either 2 decisions to make, right? 2 decisions, very, very simple. Decision number 1, I stay in this long line, probably go late to my class to get this Chick-fil-A number 1, right? Right? I got to bite the bullet. I'm hungry. I can't do another hour lecture without having some food in my stomach. I'm sorry, professor. I'm coming in late, right? Or option 2 is that I take the risk to go in that open line, right? Now, here's the thing. And this is the tough thing that roots a lot of people. What do you guys think is the main reason why, even though a lot of people probably saw what I saw, they probably saw that opportunity, they probably saw the other line, what do you think is the main reason that rooted people and stopped them from taking the chance? What do you think it is?
Insecurity.
Insecurity, what else?
Fear of embarrassment.
Fear of embarrassment, that's huge. What else?
Having doubts.
Having doubts.
Conformity.
Conformity, all of those are beautiful. All of you are exactly right. The first thing is the fear of being wrong. See, as human beings, we have this need, right, to be accepted. We have this need to be in packs, and it's not a bad thing if you're in the right pack. But sometimes, for a lot of us, we aren't. Right? So we allow the opinions, the possibility of going into the line and being wrong to weigh way more than the possibility of being right. But here's the trick, and here's the interesting thing, right? Worst case scenario, I go in the other line, right? And they say, look, bro, no, we're not open. We're actually just here behind the register so we can embarrass people like you to come to the front of the line so we can then tell you to go to the back of the line, right? That's worst case scenario. And let's be honest, I don't know if it's taking or putting that many more extra minutes on when I'm going to get my meal anyway, because I already was having to wait a long time. Like, the line's already long, so adding an extra 3 to 5 minute wait time really isn't going to make or break me. But what do you guys think happens if I take the chance and I'm right? What do you guys think happens? I win. But guys, even more powerful, the time delay, right? Right? Because I was able to take the chance and start, what was a 30-minute, situation beginning now becomes a 30-second situation. And that's what I think a lot of you guys, what I want to impart on you is, I know it's terrifying sometimes to start, right? And for a lot of you, most of us are way more aware than we give credit to. Most of you know the thing that you need to do. Most of you know the direction that you need to go. Most of you see it. But a lot of times what happens is that fear plants you. The opinions of others plant you. The wrong community plants you. And what could have been a day situation now turns into a decade situation because you don't have the courage to start. So now 10 years goes by and you're like, man, honestly, I can't do it anymore. I got to do something different. But what if you just would have had the courage to start in the beginning? Right? To take the chance. Right? When I went to Georgia Southern College and Adam Hazlip came up to me and he asked me, hey, would you be willing to be a part of this organization called Pathways to Success? I easily could have been like, I don't know, that seems kind of lame, right? Because I'm an athlete. I'm coming from the world of like student government. These guys are dorks, right? Mock trial, like, you guys are lame, right? You have athletic bone in your body. You've been forced into this. Imagine if I would have made that decision and said no, right? If I didn't have the courage to start, if I cared too much about all these other past people's opinions, right? The wrong community. Imagine what would have happened. Right? I wouldn't have been here today. I wouldn't have had that community. I would have had the inspiration of seeing guys that look like me that elevated my perception of what I considered was dressing well, what I considered was branding, image. It wouldn't have happened. I promise you, right? And here's the second thing, right? And I always, again, I like to drive it home with these stories because I think it's really important, and this should give you guys a little bit of encouragement too. Because the thing about starting, it's not easy, right? It's hard. It's not easy. I'm going to be honest with you. But it's worth it. And I'll tell you this. So I don't know if your mom is like my mom, but my mom loves puzzles. I don't know why that's her thing. It just is, right? And one time in particular, I was thinking about it the other day, we're in college, or I was in high school actually. She bought this puzzle and it was 5,000 pieces, right? So my mom's the type of like, family events, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, she likes for the family to do the puzzles. And we're just like, oh my God, I gotta do this freaking puzzle, right? So she dumps this 5,000 piece puzzle on this, we have this huge table in one of the other rooms, and she's like, look, we have to finish the puzzle, right? Now I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how many of you guys have started with the puzzle, but starting a puzzle is the worst experience ever. You don't know what the edges are, you don't know what the center is, you're just trying to figure it out. Right? And it's really annoying because you're like, sometimes too, like you're trying to like force the piece to work because you think it is, but it's like you eventually got to give up. You're scrambling through the pieces. But the beautiful thing about the puzzle is as you continue to connect the pieces, what do you guys think ends up happening? It starts becoming easier. Picture starts becoming clearer. The pieces that were once scrambled around on the table, you're like, oh, okay, this is the edge. Okay, cool. And each step starts gaining momentum. It starts gaining momentum. So finally, what was this scrambled puzzle of nothingness, because again, a lot of us, we don't know when we start, but if you have the courage to start and just start putting those pieces together, eventually at the end, what do you think happens? You get the picture. The image comes to life. And now everything makes sense. But it doesn't make sense until you have the courage to what? Start. You got to have the courage to start.